Like a JJ from Delafield. I can't really make out the last name. It's Loeche, and then I can't read it. So, and then after that, I've got Natasha Sullivan.
Hi, I'm JJ. I'm a trans guy, and the first thing I wanted to say was I have a whistleblower from Tavistock Clinic that reached out. The problem with the cast review is that they ignored the fact that there was 16 deaths after England, the UK banned puberty blockers and hormone treatments for those under the age of 18, and that was not included. Hillary Cass was notified of these numbers, but she didn't include those in her report. I just kind of wanted to let people know about that. As far as this bill goes, you've heard a lot of people say this is life-saving care, and I'm the proof of that. When I was in 6th grade, I was super miserable. Everybody's telling me, you have to be a girl, you have to be a girl. There's no other choice. You have no choice in this matter. You were born a girl, you stay a girl. So because nobody was listening to me and because I was so miserable and hated myself and I hated my life, I tried to kill myself because I could not live with who I was anymore. And so I ended up in the emergency room. I ended up in Rogers. I eventually ended up in residential treatment. And there I finally said, I'm a guy and I can't live that way and nobody will listen to me. And so from there, my parents finally did listen and they said, okay, if you're a guy, we'll figure things out. And it was after they accepted me and after they allowed me to identify as a guy that I was finally happy. I was finally able to breathe again. I was finally able to be me. I was 14 at the time. I knew myself better than most of my peers. I started testosterone the summer before, or the fall of my freshman year. And I'm so happy I did. I don't regret it. And the people that I was talking to leading up to it, no one once pressured me into it. No one once said, this is going to be your next step. This is how you're going to transition. My options were laid out on the table. They said, okay, well, if this is how you feel, if you're interested, first we got to get you into therapy because we need to make sure that you're mentally stable and we need to make sure that you're not doing this because somebody else is telling you to do this, that this is your choice and that this is how you really feel. And then we can see where it goes from there. So I had to have a therapist first for 3 to 4 months and then get a letter of approval of support. Then I was able to get hormone therapy after both of my parents signed off on a consent form. And then I started testosterone. So the idea is that kids can just run into a clinic and then doctors pressure them and say all of this and say like, you have to do this, this, and this isn't actually true. And the fact that this is life-saving care is true. Because I would not be here today speaking. My parents would not have a child. They would not have a kid if I had not transitioned when I did.
All right, JJ, I'm going to cut you off there. We've got a question already, so Representative Subak.
Thank you. So before I ask my question, I would say thank you for being here and for sharing your story. I think many of us have not, well, none of us have walked in your shoes, but many of us don't have experiences that relate to being in your shoes, so it really helps to have you here to tell us. And I guess, again, this may not really be a question, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, but I wanted to thank you for talking about the process that you went through to reach the point where you had access to hormone therapy and eventually testosterone, yep. Because I do think that that's something that's been lost in the equation, yeah. And hearing from somebody who's experienced it is so very helpful. And I know the time was short. Some of the early speakers had a lot longer conversations, so I just wanted to check in and see if there was anything else you wanted to add about your experiences that you think is important for us to know.
I will say that before even doing testosterone, They don't start with that. They start with stuff like stopping your period, and even stopping your period is done with female hormones. So those that like think, hey, let's just pump you full of female hormones and see if you love yourself more, that doesn't work either, because it just, that's what they do to stop your period. I mean, I was in bed for 3 months because that just made my period go for 3 months, but that doesn't work. So yeah, it's a big process and I hated it, but I got through it and it's so worth it now because I am so happy to be here and so happy to be me.
Thank you for helping us see things through your eyes.
Do we have any questions from the committee? All right, thank you for your testimony. Up next is Natasha Sullivan, and then I've got Katie Hayden. And after that, it's Jamie Hawkins.